What's up guys, JV2017 here, and today we're going to discuss community opinions on Workshop DLC and how it could have been done better. Before I say another word, my goal is to present this situation in the fairest light and then share my honest opinions. I am not paid by Bethesda for good opinions. My negative review of Wasteland Workshop and my ranking of Fallout 4 below New Vegas and Fallout 3, among other things, will definitely show for that. The idea for this video came from the fact that every single Workshop DLC related video that I create comes with this set of comments. 1. This DLC is not worth $5. 2. This DLC shouldn't have been created in the first place. And or 3. This DLC should have been in the game in the first place. That's not to say that people don't also like the DLC. I get these comments in the same videos too. 1. Hey, I actually like this DLC. 2. I actually like settlement building in general. And or 3. $5 is a steal for this Workshop DLC. I'm not surprised by either set of comments. I actively encourage you all to share your opinions at the end of every video, and that's on purpose. The fact that I see both of these strong opinions shows that Workshop DLC is a polarizing topic, so polarizing that it makes perfect sense to talk about it today. While I do respect valid opinions, I also want to address the loud vocal minority that do not like Workshop DLC. I think it starts again, just like it did with Automatron and Wasteland Workshop, with an explanation on inherent value. The idea that something is worth money, it has monetary value, but it may not be worth your money for you in particular. Now, analogies aren't always the most effective way of getting the point across, but I feel like this one makes a good amount of sense in this situation, so bear with me. Say you see a toolbox at the store for $20. It includes a wrench, screwdriver, hammer, and a battery-powered drill. Someone that likes to be handy around the house and fix things up would really think that this toolbox is a steal. However, let's say you don't really care about home improvement, you actually couldn't care less and wonder why anybody would pay $20 for items that you would never use. And you're not crazy to think that, that's just human nature. Some people don't want things that other people want. This is as close as I can get to the same situation we have with Workshop DLC. Some people love settlement building and find great value with the new building tools in the DLC, but others never like settlements in the first place and would never pay money to expand that experience. But once again, those tools in the metaphorical toolbox, they have value. They're not free and they're not worthless just because other people don't like them. They're concrete and they actually do something. Same goes with the new items in the Workshop DLC. They actually do something. They provide something new to do. Now, I will admit there are definitely some holes in my analogy, the biggest of which are the presence of this DLC in the Fallout franchise with previous DLC and the Season Pass. People have this nostalgic memory of previous Fallout DLC packs with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. It's hard not to remember those and think, what in the hell was, Bethesda thinking with Fallout 4? Why didn't they try to replicate that experience? And believe it or not, I actually share that sentiment, but it's not in spite of players that enjoy the DLC or Bethesda for even making it in the first place. I'm not going to hop on a YouTube video and say, oh, you like this DLC? Well, screw you, because it should have been something else. I've been on board with the whole I'd rather have gotten all story and no Workshop DLC bandwagon for a while now, especially after Wasteland Workshop, but that doesn't mean I don't respect those that enjoy the DLC and find value in it, or that I refuse to enjoy it and play it for myself and for my own opinion. Even though I generally don't enjoy settlement building, it's just not my thing, I found a lot of fun and value out of the recent Contraptions DLC pack, creating machines and making, revolving machines, making them infinite with a new mod. That's something I've actually enjoyed. The other hole in my analogy is the fact that people paid money for a season pass. All I have to say to that is, please, learn your lesson this time. Publishers and developers release season passes as a way to persuade consumers into giving them money for content they haven't even created yet. It's incredibly anti-consumer, but that's the, industry that we live in today. It took Bethesda until March to release Automatron. That's 5 full months after the release of Fallout 4 in November. They spent that time polishing the game, fixing bugs, preparing the new survival mode, preparing console mods, and of course creating that first DLC and probably preparing future DLCs. If you bought the Season Pass, and I did as well, so I'm not just, pointing fingers at you guys, but if you bought the Season Pass, if you're one of those people, you were essentially saying to Bethesda, hey, I trust that you will make $30 worth of content that I will like. And let's remember, we didn't even know what the Season Pass contained until February. So if you were an early adopter of the Season Pass for Fallout 4, you did 2 things. 1, you put your money down for a product that came out way in the future, way in advance. And 2, you put your money down for a product that you didn't even know what you were paying for. That's insane. Apply that to most other industries, and consumers just don't do that. It doesn't work. And once you put your money down, at that point, all bets are off the table, and you can only be upset at yourself for paying way far in advance for something you didn't even know what you were paying for. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This is why you should not buy season passes unless you truly trust a developer and want to support them, which is the boat that I think a lot of us were in, if I'm being fair. You know, a lot of us weren't just like duped and tricked into this. We want to support Bethesda. We're going to play the DLC no matter what, so we bought it. But now people are complaining. That's why we're talking about this. Also, it's important to note that there was a small gap of time where we knew what we were paying for, and it was in March before the price hike. We knew what all the DLC was. It was announced, and also there was a promise of future DLC, but the season pass was still $30. That's when you should buy a season pass, not before you know what's contained in it, and not before you know what the volume of the season pass is. All of that being said, I'm sure Bethesda knows that a good chunk of their most passionate fans are not happy with the Workshop DLC. I think Bethesda also strikes a pretty good balance between listening to a passionate community, but also not letting it corrupt their creative process. That's happened to other developers. I think Bethesda still kind of keeps it honed in. For example, they did admit to, voice protagonists maybe being a misstep for this game. That's tough to do when it cost them so much money and time to implement, probably delayed the game by, who knows how long. Now I'm going to switch gears and talk about what could have been done better, in my opinion, with the Workshop DLC and the way that it was released. I know a lot of people aren't happy that 3 out of the 6 total DLC packs for Fallout 4 are dedicated to Workshop. If Bethesda had a do-over and gave community opinion priority over all else, I think they would have considered selling all of this Workshop DLC in one $15 pack. That giant Workshop pack would have had around 300 new items, giving players the ability to cage animals, hold arena battles, build complex machines, manufacture items, and build their own vaults. All of that for $15 sounds a lot more attractive than the 3 separate packs for $5 each. And I know it's the same thing, it's just repackaged in a different way, and sometimes that makes a difference. And I think if they did this, the public perception, the community perception of our online community might have been different. And imagine if the DLC release timeline looked like this instead. Automatron came out in March, just like normal, and then the giant Workshop pack came out in May, Far Harbor came out instead in July, and then Nuka World in September. I think some might have been more okay with a month gap in between DLC if this is how it went down. Now, this definitely isn't the perfect solution. I'm sure Bethesda considered doing just that, and they probably released them separately for a few reasons that I can think of. First off, to give them more time to work on the larger packs. This is an attempt to give players something to play while they work on those larger packs that everyone's really clamoring for. But also that kind of makes you think that these Workshop packs are second rate. If the purpose of DLC is to keep people satiated for other DLC, then why release it in the first place? So maybe or maybe not that was a consideration. Next, maybe they did it this way to always have something for players to be excited about. Having a consistent release schedule of one DLC per month is really exciting, regardless of the size or whether, everyone likes it. They consistently have had new content going up and keeping players playing. And I don't know if this decision would have been necessarily from Bethesda, the developer, or Bethesda, the publisher. It does make more sense that the publisher would want them to consistently have that DLC coming out. But hey, I don't really know. I'm not on the inside. The last reason I can think of for Bethesda to release it in this way is to give players a choice in what they want from the Workshop DLC. It's more consumer friendly in a way to divide these workshops up so you don't force players to pay $15 if they just want to build a vault. They don't care about manufacturing machines or ammo, or they don't care about cages or arenas. They just want to build their own vault. Make them pay $5 instead of $15 for all of it bundled together. So to kind of wrap up my thoughts, I think it's totally okay to be salty about having Workshop DLC in place of story DLC. It's a little okay to be salty about the Season Pass too, but just be mindful of that in the future. Don't buy a Season Pass until you know what's in it. The complaining about monetary value of these Workshop DLC packs, though, is completely childish in my opinion. Remember the toolbox analogy. Items have inherent value whether you like them or would pay for them or not. As always, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. Do you think that one giant Workshop DLC would have turned out better for Bethesda in terms of our community opinion, or do you think splitting it was better overall? Share that opinion below. Alright guys, today I shared my overall thoughts on Workshop DLC for Fallout 4. Next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new or enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more DLC coverage, my survival mode live streams, Bethesda.net mods, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace!